great.
Anna Powell.
Thanks. That's how I like to be greeted everywhere I go. I was thinking about having a t-shirt made, honestly.
That would actually be great, just F and G and just like a spaces in between.
Yeah.
I think you should do that for a team sweatshirt.
I should. I have no ego, so we'll see.
Welcome to No Blueprint.
Thank you.
So, yeah, a little bit of background on this is, it's real estate related, but also I like to make it more about Life 360. So, about everything basically. Yeah. So I know you want to talk about your wellness journey over this past year.
Well, and my wellness journey is the result of a really hard real estate career, I'm pretty sure. So, I think...
Well, before we do that, who are you?
Who am I?
Who are you? What are you? 6'5",
my name is Anna Powell. I'm a Sagittarius.
What month is that? What does
December.
That okay.
December. Oh, nice. Yeah. I just spend time with my dear friend Allison, just sending memes about Sagittarius all the time because we're only a couple days apart, which is why I think we're so weirdly similar. But
and then I think she just forwards those to me or to the team
to
validate how she is.
100%. But no, my name is Anna Powell, and I actually live in North Carolina, but I did spend a couple years down here in the Low Country, where we are today. And I run a team of like 40 real estate agents in the Triangle area, coastal North Carolina, the mountains of North Carolina, and we have Charlotte partners that will be onboarding shortly. Awesome. And so big, hairy, audacious goal, which everyone should have, and this is why my wellness journey has been important. We're talking literally in the next 7 years, doing 500 million in production yearly with as many agents as it takes to sustain that volume in whatever market that we find ourselves in. And I have a downline organization at EXP of about 150, 160 agents. So I love that component too, which is how we're connected down here. So I like to say I get to come work in Beaufort at least once every couple months.
That's awesome, because when you were here in Beaufort, you weren't doing real estate at all.
No,
correct?
Allison and I sat on a golf cart one day. I think we'd had a few cocktails. It was like those years after college where somehow you did rage a little harder than you did in college. Which again, I can't wait to talk about my
my wellness journey.
It's like you're like, I'm done now.
I just had to hit some rock bottoms.
They talk about this, you should always establish authority first. To establish authority after a bottle and a half of wine. We're like,
peaks and valleys.
We should get our real estate license. We would be so good at this. And Allison did actually, I think within the next 6 to 8 months, have a license. I did not get mine until I moved back to North Carolina in the end of 2015. I think my license year is actually 2016. So we're about a year apart. But yeah, I was not licensed here. We did not work in real estate here. So it's just funny how connected we are now, even being a whole state apart.
Yeah, it's awesome. And just for our viewers, it was a really cool thing. I think now we've been with EXP, the Greco Group's been 2 years.
2 years, yeah. It was 2 years in July.
Yeah. So, July. Yeah, it's just awesome how much our world has... God, this is not a plug for EXP, by the way, but it's just so awesome how much...
Just kidding.
It was just so awesome how much our world has opened up here, and obviously introduced me to you. But then also, it's been cool because I and we as a team have partnered with your team as well with referrals, just learning opportunities. It's just been a really cool...
It's an expander, right? Which is I think if I had to pick the one thing in life that I want, it's always expansion. That might be my Sagittarius coming out. I'm not sure, but the value of an expanding piece of your life. I just don't think people understand. Identify when they come in, just embrace and fully surrender to the expand. And it can be a little I remember being how are we going to help service and do all these things now that we have all these agents in Beaufort? It's been fine. You know what I mean? Your world gets bigger, you adapt, your capacity goes up, and you just keep trudging along.
Yeah, my one quote, I'm not really honestly a quotes person, but
tell me more.
Profound. Luck is where preparation meets opportunity. And it's funny, and I'm sure you have a ton of these conversations where well, how'd you get here? What did you do? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm sure we'll talk about that. But, sometimes you just have to dive head first and you figure it out really as you go.
We build the plane while we're flying it in the air.
Yeah.
My team is literally going through a massive CRM change, and I have always been like the kind of the tech czar. Like that's my thing. I recruit to tech. I train on tech. I love tech. We had so many automations in our previous CRM system. We're moving just for reasons like that apply to us. And you know, like I had to tell my team, I was like, look, I think you're really used to me being a couple steps ahead, but like I'm not. Like I'm literally piloting a plane right now, and I don't even know where the on switch is. Evident by the fact that our entire database got an email yesterday, and I was like, I don't know where that came from. So, but like that's the thing, and I think that is the difference between people that will find success and that won't. Is like I'm not fearful of flying a plane that's in 18,000 pieces in the air. I'm just not scared of it, you know.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I'll even say for this podcast/video thing, I mean, if you could only see our setup behind us. Okay, you didn't have to laugh that hard. Dang.
Sorry, it was good though. It was really good.
But you know, like figuring it out as I go.
Exactly. Like you're not in a place where it's like, I'm going to take a $2,000 course on figuring out podcasts and I'm going to build out a studio that's like, you know, like, no, like you just execute, right? Like you just have to go and execute.
Yeah. Highlight, my phone is on a stand, but it may fall over. So Anna Powell got her hair clipped to clip it on back there. So
tech stars.
Tech stars. Tech stars. So I think this brings us back to our great, we're going to bring it back, but you know, our wellness journey, because a lot of it is, right? Like, you know, you're stressing yourself out, like you're just kind of pushing yourself to the max.
Well, I think our nervous systems, right? Like get used to operating in kind of just like this elevated state. And I think it's really hard as entrepreneurs because there is a lot of like that, you know, puts yourself first, self-care, this, like the reality is like there's balance in everything. And like, how do you start integrating all of your things in your work life and your personal life into something that is just a life, and you don't have these like hard stops on what is self-healing and what's business building, right? And like you have to figure out, how do I combine all these things together? But yes, I had a pretty traumatic event in 22. My mom passed away in September of 22, so we just hit our like 3-year mark, and it was one of those that I remember at the time being like, if I don't like grieve properly through this process and I don't figure this out, like this will be one of the things that's going to come back to get me later. But what I didn't really understand was like just like the physiological like effects of like stress and trauma. So like that was 22, but like the story behind that is like I showed a house a week after I delivered twins via C-section. I tell everyone, especially real estate agents, that story, because if that girl can find leverage and balance and integration and joy in what she does, like anybody can. Because like, let's be honest, like
that's insane.
Not to be graphic, but like there were things coming out like all over the place. And I am in a townhouse being like, I can't climb these stairs because I've already climbed one set of stairs today. I should legally be driving. And I remember, like, I literally she went upstairs because I told her, I was like, I'll go up one set of stairs for you today. So you tell me which house you like.
How is it up there?
And this house, I'm not even going to lie. I hope this girl, I mean, I'm sure she'll never see it. This was like a slab, like foundation, like townhouse. And I told her I was going to go outside and just like check out everything under the house. And I went outside on the little patio and I looked to my left and my right and I just like cried, like cried for 15 minutes, not 15 minutes. I didn't have that much time, like 15 seconds, what felt like 15 minutes. And then like immediately had to come back inside and like go to work, and actually nothing had happened. And what I didn't understand about our bodies is like literally in those moments where like there is that trauma, like if it's not processed, like it literally goes into your cells. Okay. And like, listen, let me tell you something. Math and science, not my department. So like smarty pants, like watching this, it's like, that's not how it works. Okay, I got it. Like,
drop some comments. I want to see
100%.
Tell us.
I get it. I don't even know if I know the definition of the word cell. I'm telling you that
S-E-L-L.
it goes into your body. And so I had this amazing opportunity to go train with Renee Rodriguez, who wrote Amplify Your Influence. And it really looks at like the subconscious brain and like how like we process things and all this stuff. And so I thought I was going to go to this workshop and learn how to speak more eloquently, which is hilarious. But this is a podcast. This is a casual conversation. and like how I would like present on stage better. And I was a performing arts like major in college. So I was like, oh, I'm going to be really good at this. I'm going to be the best person there because I already know how to do all these things. And I got there and I was like, oh, this is not this. This is like basically trying to heal like childhood wounds, to be able to communicate more clearly to people. So you have this dinner the first night, you go around the table after each course. It's like a 7 or 8 course meal. And each course, there's a meaning behind it and there's a story behind it. And then a person at the table gives a toast. So I went to give my toast and I was so sure it was going to be so good. And I was going to talk about how I've always felt like I was on the fringe of success, but never all the way in. And I was there with some really successful, like very well-known real estate rock star women who I honestly, when I was invited, I was like, why am I invited to this room? You know what I mean? You know that feeling when you're like, why am I here?
Yeah.
And I have a lot of confidence. So if I feel that way, it's real. So I also deflect with humor, which I learned at this event too. But I really did. Like, I felt like I wasn't supposed to be there. I felt very small. I felt like I needed to stay out of the way. I felt like I needed to, just be more observant, not like taking up space, because how dare I take up space around these incredible women, right? I have not earned the right to be there. So my speech was going to be about why I feel that way. And I think it comes from childhood. Like, my dad is amazing, but he has really high expectations, as his father had. And so there's always this drive of like, you did great, but like, it could be better. It could be better. It could always be a little bit better. Yes, you did this, but like, what comes next? And so that feeling of it never being enough, all to get to say is full breakdown. Like
during the toast.
Yes.
Okay.
Could not speak. Oof. And then I don't know if you know this or not, like I started doing this thing where it was like, I sounded like a kid. Like I was like, ha 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 ha, 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 like in between my like crying. And I know, no, dead serious. Like I was like, I sound like my at the time, like my twin 3-year-old Will, when he gets upset, like he's like, like, and parents will know what I'm talking about. Yeah. It's called down regulation. Okay. So this is what I learned. When you're a child, and this is why our children's outbursts and like moments seem so big to us over very little things.
Right.
Because they don't have the development in their frontal cortex.
Regulation.
Yeah. I don't know if that's right. Okay. I don't even know what a frontal cortex is.
In their left elbow.
It sounded right. Okay. And like when they are upset, like that hasn't developed. And so nothing filters it. So 100%. They do exactly, and this is going to sound kind of gross, but like they do like what a deer does when they get like run over by a car. Like the body down regulates. Like it literally will shudder out so that the body doesn't absorb that trauma. And so when we're younger, we down regulate. And as adults, our frontal cortex is like, nah, bitch, you fine.
Right.
Get it together. Go back in that house. Go up the steps. You've got shit to do.
Yep.
And so this whole like I started having some like physical ailment in 2024, last summer, that I never experienced in my life. And we couldn't attribute it to injury, and we couldn't attribute it to over strenuous like workout. Like we couldn't figure it out. And so anyways, I started to really kind of explore this, like, what is my body hanging on to? And it's been kind of wild to learn. And I don't think a lot of people talk about it. And I think realtors should, because I think we carry a lot of trauma.
100%. And so you started to figure that out, I guess, in 24 and then going into 25, or like what did that?
Well, it's really funny. It started very simple. So I had lower back pain, which again, like maybe I deadlifted too heavy one day, right? Because I've been strength training at this point for like a year, like very consistently. But it was like shooting down legs. It was so consuming. Actually, I really do like empathize now a lot with people that have chronic pain. Because it will start to make you feel like you're going crazy. Yeah. It will absolutely start to make you go a little bananas. Yeah. Because you're like, is it real? Right? And then when people can't figure out the cause of it, then it will really make you feel like, is this real?
And so what was the, I guess, like connecting, like did anyone help you connect that?
Yeah, I was very fortunate. So I have an amazing trainer. with Better Strength Company, Corey Murtha, and like he also is. Love Corey. You've worked out with Corey.
Love Corey. Shout out.
Shout out. Better Strength Co. We love you. So Corey was also like did a lot of like body work stuff, like with trying to help heal clients, because and I know in the personal training space, which is like you know in your world too, like if your clients are injured, right, like they can't come to the gym and pay for personal training. And so oftentimes like the first line of defense is like send them to a PT. And I will talk about like my PT who helped us like start to figure out some things too. But like that's taking them out of the gym and sending them into an environment where like they might not be able to come back or do the same thing. So I think Corey really understood like it's good to be able to also help heal bodies and also train them. And so he started doing some weird things. Now, again, I got no science here and I don't understand it. But like to me, I called it like the weird voodoo, because he would like rub 3 times here and like knead here, and all of a sudden like my leg wouldn't lift. Like there's very weird, and I think the word I'm probably looking for is like channels within our bodies. And so one of the contributing factors that definitely amplified this is like I had 2 C-sections with my children. So, and like women listening to this podcast, like please hear me. Like you are not okay from that. Like number one, you are not okay from that. They cut you in places that like you're never going to get some of these channels back, like just by being a human.
Organs out, right? And then
they take them all out. Yeah, they cut through all of your muscle tissue. Everything gets sliced. That's a technical term, medical school. But one of the weirdest things is like we started to realize that like there was not a lot of connectivity like through my abdominal areas and like all that stuff, which is frustrating because like, you know, I'm bench pressing 165 pounds. Like, I'm strong.
Flex on them.
I'm real strong. I am really strong. I mean, seriously, like I'm throwing 50s over my head on shoulder press, like without an issue. Like I'm very strong, but I was not able to connect. And so I had limited ability to keep progressing. So I did go to PT because Corey thought it might be helpful just to have a physical therapist. Be sure there was nothing going on, but we could definitely start to figure some things out within the gym. In fact, I had an experience one day where he really went into, and there's some lymphatic stuff there, but like really went into abdominal deep tissue. And I'm telling you, I just bursted out in tears, not from pain from it, like literally just my body just full blown released. And when I'm not joking, I was high as a kite for like 4 hours.
Wow.
I mean, I had to go teach a class at Sharon Evans' office in Raleigh, and I had to get Robbie to drive me. And the entire time I was like, and it was on my tech stack. So I was like presenting, and I was like, and then when you click this button, this does this. And when you do this, this does this. And I was like drooling out of the side of my mouth. I'm dead serious. Like from literally like pressure in a lymphatic point in my abdominal system, I went full blown out of commission.
Corey did this?
Yes.
He was like, a lot of new people, Corey.
He talks though about how like it's really heavy for him to do that work, so it's not like what he prefers. But that was the first day that I was like, holy bananas, there's something going on in my body that I've got to figure out how to get out. Because I was to the point where like when I would get out of a chair, I had to mentally like tell my body to straighten. It was so limiting. Like it was so limiting. Last summer was really hard. It was really hard. I don't think a lot of people knew, but it was definitely like really affecting me.
Wow.
Still like working out, but like just constantly waiting for, relief, and it never came. So I went to a physical therapist to really confirm that there was no like injury, which we figured out there's not, and had my first dose of dry needling. High as a kite again, freaking high as a kite. Like
where did they?
In the lower back. Okay. Yeah, where I had the symptoms, and a little bit into the glutes and stuff. But I remember Courtney was talking, and I'm very talkative. Like, good luck having any words in this podcast.
Yes. Yeah, that's about
Yes, of course. And so she got into this spot, and like I literally was like, I can't talk. She's gonna think this is so weird because I've been talking nonstop, and now I don't know that I can say a word. And my sentence just trailed off. And she's like, are you good? And I was like, Like I remember, because I had this experience where like someone did something in my body, and like my mind literally just went whatever.
Truly a voodoo doll.
I'm serious. And like, listen, like this is not my like scene. The woo woo, like spiritual, like health, like this is not my thing, right?
Yeah.
And so Corey suggested after that, and this was the thing that really made all the difference. Said if you're really responding well to the dry needling, they only do it at a small scale in the areas that are affected. He's like, why don't you look at going to acupuncture? Because they understand how the body talks.
Yeah, all connects channels.
All the channels.
Yep.
And I'm telling you what, I went, and for a second on the table, I was like, this is so weird. Like, what, this ain't gonna do nothing. I didn't even feel anything when she put these things in, right? Because the pens are much smaller than what your PT uses for like dry needling. I don't know, sometime like, I guess after 40 minutes of sitting or whatever, however long it is, this Dr. Tori, that's her name, comes in and she's like, hey, how are we? And you would have thought I had been like transcended into another world.
It's like what you call that, ashwagandha? What is it?
No, it's like I went and did ayahuasca, like
ayahuasca,
eating some tree root in Costa Rica. Like I was like, where am I?
Glad you didn't throw up.
No throwing up. No pooping myself either. But like, at least I know. I shouldn't tell me, but I'm just kidding.
Love
cut that. No. So anyways, it was just one of those things where like I left that day high as a kite. And so then I start really piecing together and start like learning about how our bodies hold that trauma. And it really did, like, it really started there. And then I jumped ahead because Renee Rodriguez was this year in February. And so that's when I learned about the down regulation. And so I've been able through all this process to put together that, like, yes, my back hurt, but my back hurt because I didn't do what my body did not release what it needed to in building a business for my family, in dealing with massive grief, in dealing with even the small things that show up every single day that we don't deal with or process correctly. And as high achievers, I think it's really easy to be like, I can carry more. And it's right. I can carry more, but there is a point where like you have to get some output out.
Do you feel like you've figured it out?
No.
Okay. Yeah. I kind of knew that. Love that.
No, not at all. Because I think it's so much big. Like it's like the dry needling versus the acupuncture, right? Like the dry needling is such a small subsection of like a much bigger system. And I think like what I know is still a very small part of a much bigger system.
Are you a person of routine or
no?
Okay. And do you feel like are you doing a routine? Are you trying to do a routine?
Yeah, I don't yes. I mean, I feel like I then learned that I needed to sleep better. I did know that like sleep was a very healing component, because it also talks about how when you can actually really sleep, your subconscious brain will allow some of this process to actually occur. So I always know I've had a really good night's sleep when my mom shows up in my dreams.
Oh, wow.
Because at that point, my body has let the guards down enough to let my subconscious start processing things. Yeah. So it seems kind of silly, but like that is my, like, I know if I wake up and my mom was somewhere in my dreams, like, and I check my Whoop score, that bitch gonna be high.
Wow.
Real high.
So you always see the connection there.
Or like if I have dreams that are like really heavily work related or personal relationships that, you know, I'm like, when very specific things show up, and I think this is important to understand about dreaming, is like, that's why people like interpret dreams, right? Is because it is basically like you got so tired that all of these frontal controls went to sleep and your subconscious just got to do what it needs to do to process stuff.
See, I'm a crazy sleeper technically. Like I'll sleep, walk, talk, do all the things. Yeah. I never remember my dreams. I feel like I have like 2 good sleeps a year. And I try to prioritize it now, because of course before I was like, oh no, I can run on fumes and just like keep going.
No, Allison's the one that really too was like, you have to start sleeping. So I will say I took Gary Brecka, who's like a biohacker. I mean, that's like what he's kind of known for, is like, how do you stop the aging process and how do you like keep your cells young and all that stuff. Again, I don't know what cells are, but that. And he gave us a sleep routine actually when we were in Cabo this year. And so for ruminators, who are people that tend to like the frontal part of their brain starts to go crazy. Okay, so his formula is It's a hot shower down the back for like 15, 20 seconds, like as hot as you can stand down the back. Turn the faucet all the way to cold, step out for a few minutes to allow like that actual transition to occur. And then you go full frontal. It's a visual right there, wasn't it? Full frontal. I'm trying to be serious and I can't, into the like really cold water.
Okay, like your head or just the...
Yeah, your head too, but like just like the front.
Yeah.
And it's called a contrast shower.
Yeah.
And he always says like just start there because that actually like signals some kind of like satisfaction in the brain so that it will know. And so that was always like that helped my sleep routine. I started with that. I would always do a floss, a soft bristle brush, and the coconut oil pulling at night.
Oh, yep.
And then a tongue scrape. And then dark rooms, like sleep mask. And like you have to just allow yourself to be still in darkness and like pitch blackness. And that's the formula. Oof, yeah. So I did start sleeping with a sleep mask, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah.
Never in a million years would I think I'd be like, oh, I must bring my sleep mask.
It's funny. I still have mine from planes and stuff like that. Yeah. So those are my sleep masks.
So I mean, like, anyway, so like that was just one of those things. And then like obviously like I think wearing like a device that does like grade your sleep every morning is like for me is like helpful. So I don't have like, I'm not a routine person in like my day looks the same all the time. I'm very comfortable like not having that like chaos. Strict day to day, but I do have a few little things like I have to get in the gym, right? I now have learned I can do it at any time, which has been very freeing. I used to have to be like, have to go in the morning. Yeah. But I have learned over the last like 3 or 4 months that I can be much more flexible with workouts, which has been kind of fun to be like, oh, it's 7 o'clock. I'm going to work out now. Because I have some energy now, or even 3 o'clock when I'm dead at work, I can be like, I can just run to the gym. I don't have to use what I think is my most productive morning hour to be in the gym.
Because I definitely am in the morning.
Yeah. And I've always been in the morning because it's like, get it behind you and get it 100%. Over. But I think once you realize the health, but like, it's not just the health benefits of like, I want to look good, like going to the gym. Like for me, it's just like my mental state.
Oh yeah. It's a form of therapy for sure.
Yeah. So it's nice to know now I can work that in wherever. And then usually my nighttime routine, I hold pretty sacred. And then I just have, like a few things during the day where like, if I have some big feelings, like I honestly right now, ChatGPT processes a lot of them for me. I'm not joking. Like I was never the girl that could journal, but dang, like if someone got my ChatGPT right now, like I'd be on a list somewhere because I have told it knows everything about me. Seriously, it's wild.
It kind of feels, when you think about it, ChatGPT feels like a Black Mirror episode. Like, or one day it will be of some form. I mean, I'm sure there is one.
And I just never, like, I know people like, you need to journal, you need to talk about how you're feeling. But I'm a very high I, and I do crave like responses from people. And so like, I always felt like, okay, well, this is going here, but I'm not like, there's no feedback. I crave feedback.
It's funny. I've been struggling with that a little bit because earlier this year, I was kind of in a down place and actually went to visit my friend in Amsterdam, and I journaled every day, and it helped tremendously. But also, I'm the type of person that I like feedback, and I almost would prefer like group therapy so I can hear others and get like live feedback from everyone. But then I'm also like, well, who do you trust in that circle?
Exactly.
That's the other piece of it.
I mean, as long as no one can get into my ChatGPT, I trust it pretty good. But yeah, I mean, again, so I think it's like, it's not so much the word routine for me. I think it's the word ritual. So again, like I actually was in acupuncture last week. Like that's something that I'm still, even though I don't have the like symptoms of the pain, I still understand what it is. I do like lymphatic massages like pretty regularly. I don't know, I've just like kind of been doing a lot more things that I feel like. Yeah.
And you know what? Some things, like whether you keep them as a routine or ritual or not, like, I feel like constantly as our bodies are changing, just life and everything, like everything has seasons and time periods and stuff. Like I'm real big on magnesium right now, I think that's a huge one for me that's actually helped with my sleep. So yeah, I'm trying to figure it out. I guess I'm saying all of this because I'm trying to figure it out for myself.
Yeah. I mean, now. I think that like the physical pain manifestation of stress is obviously like a really extreme version. Like, I don't think that happens to everyone. I think that like that, for me, that was just like a lot of really big trauma that I just did nothing with. And I look back on the weeks after mom passed away, and like even the week after, delivering twins via C-section, which is like your body, like this is one thing for women that are listening that have had C-sections, like your body on that table, like the doctors didn't send some internal code to your like DNA and say, hey guys, no worries, we're in a controlled environment. Nothing is going to go wrong here because everything's sterile, everything is planned, everything is under control. We're going to saw this person in half, but like, don't worry. Like, it's at a hospital at a time that was scheduled, maybe even elected by this person.
Yeah.
Your body just thinks you are literally being ripped in half. Like, and so the body responds to you being ripped in half.
Yeah.
And so that was one of those things, like, I just didn't understand. Like, I also literally had the fact that like 2 times my body thought I was going to die.
Yeah.
But like, no one, you know what they told me? They said, oh, well, you need to get up and walk within 12 hours. You know what I mean? Like, literally, if women that have listened to this that have had C-sections will tell you, like, they do. They're like, you're walking within like 12 hours of that thing, if not even less, while you're caring for, a baby. Your hormone levels have freaking plummeted and you're exhausted because you haven't slept in weeks. So, like, your body thought it died. Like, it was going to die 2 times. And like, no one talks about like what is left behind beyond a scar. And then you go through emotional trauma and your body doesn't process it and downregulate it. It just tucks it into places. And then you wonder, why
am I feeling this way?
Why do I feel this way?
Yeah. Well, how, for the people out there that, especially in real estate, but also other industries, trying to take care of themselves, but also take care of their families or loved ones and stuff like that. Have you figured out any? I don't really love like was it work-life balance?
Because no, I hate that.
Yeah. So
I'm not,
same.
I'm not there. Because I can say work-life balance, and my life balance can be that I go on vacation with my family and I say, well, I had great work-life balance. I took 4 vacations with my family. But if my body was still in high trauma mode the entire time I was on vacation with my family, I didn't actually fix anything. I spent time with them, which is important.
Right.
So I think really it's like anything else. The first step is like, obviously just like awareness, like just understanding that like this is the consequences of like not dealing with your shit. And that not like dealing with your shit is not a badge of honor. Like, I think I talk about this all the time. Having high capacity, like, I think that's something you build over time, and I think you should be really proud of it. But like, your body at some point is going to be like, yeah, you can do that, but like, you could do it better if we could get rid of this stuff. So I do think it is like just being self-aware that like, it's okay that something heavy is weighing on you. It doesn't mean you get to say, well, I'm not going to work today. I'm not going to show this house to this client that I'm going to make $10,000 on, or they're going to go find another agent. Like, woe is me for showing a house a week after I delivered twins. But the reality is my job required it of me. Right.
Right.
But like, being able in that moment to say, hey body, like, this is not normal. Like, hey brain, this is not normal. Like, this is going to be really hard. Like, we're going to go do the hard thing. But like, I do recognize that, like, not just shutting it down and being like, oh, shut up, go to work. Your kids need you. You know what I'm saying? I think it is how you talk to yourself. Like, it is how you talk to yourself.
100%.
It's like facing it down and saying, hey, listen, I know trauma, you're creeping in from places. I get it. I recognize you. I have a grasp on it. I did it the other night. I had one of those down regulation moments. I just had a lot of heavy stuff on me.
Yeah.
And it's okay. I understood what my body was doing. And I said, just let it go. I don't need to button it up and get it together. Just, if I'm going to down regulate, let's do this thing.
Yeah. Actually, I want to shout out, who is the guest that we had on Empowered this past
Danny
Wednesday?
Burgess.
Yeah.
Or this past?
Yeah, this past one.
Just a couple days ago?
Yeah.
Josh Burnett.
Yeah, Josh Burnett. Because I felt like he was kind of talking a little bit about, and then also Danny Burgess the week prior. Yeah. Both were great. The past 2 weeks have been great. Shout out Empowered.
Yeah, because our subconscious brains have an unbelievable amount of control over us. And that is the thing that I feel like when we talk about, like, and again, this is not a space that I'm educated on, so I should probably stop talking. But like, when we talk about like mental illness and like all the things that are going on and like just the discontent and the anger and the issues that I just feel like are sitting around us all right now, I do believe that like people just don't understand how much they are controlled by their subconscious brain. It is driving the way they communicate. It's driving the decisions that they make. And if you can understand that it's there, and that's what I really learned through this. Like I learned it literally the hard, uncomfortable, painful way. But like I read Living from a Place of Surrender, which like you want to talk about woo-woo. The book opens with the guy, he's a Jewish yogi.
Okay.
And he get the Audible version because he just talks through the whole thing. It's not even like he reads the book, he just talks to you. And it's amazing. But he talks about how like if you went into a hospital and you were laying on like a hospital bed and you had like full like nerve blocking, like anesthesia, like all the things. And like they amputated your arms and legs and then like put you on like a heart bypass and like did all these things. And like they came and you couldn't see anything, right? You were completely unaware of what was happening. And they talked to you and said, how are you? You'd be like, I'm fine. The second you see yourself in a mirror, you're going to be like, I'm not fine.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so like we have this like mind body, like spirit connection. But the reality is like your body is very, very separate of like what's going on here.
And so with saying that, like, I think I just have trouble personally pulling myself out to your point, to separate the two. Like I struggle with that. And I don't, you know what, I'm just going to say it, but like I have a friend that does ketamine therapy.
Yes.
And like it allows you to separate yourself, and it's anyways.
Yeah. Well, and he goes on to talk about how like in Genesis with like Adam and Eve, that like, and I mean, I grew up in Christian school, like all, like church all through growing up, and like I didn't understand this. Like when we talk about like Eve eating the fruit and giving it to Adam and the initial sin, and we talk about the consequence of sin. The consequence of sin is awareness. That's what it was. We now are so aware of all the things. We can't live in that place where our mind and our spirit is able to just exist, because now it's awareness. How does Eli feel about what I'm saying right now? How is the weather impacting me today? How is this going to turn out? And so that's what that we were, initially designed by God to not have this awareness. And now we do, and we're having to live with it. And so it's figuring out how do you understand the awareness, and then, but also understand who you are, and make sure that it's not just this messy, constant thing. And again, how does that relate to back pain? It completely relates to that. It does. I mean, it really does.
And that's why my back's hurting.
Exactly. That's what it is, because the awareness, right, of the trauma. And so it's very interesting. And again, this was not my vibe like 2 years ago. Kevin Call, one of our partners who I absolutely adore, like is actually like going down to work and do ayahuasca, like with he works there now in the summers. And
oh wow.
Kevin's been talking about it for years, and I was like, what is this weird stuff you're talking about? But like I do get it. Like your mind is just like, it has to be able to exist and to process things without all the awareness and the connection to body sometimes.
I would love to hear Kevin's. Has Tina done it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. My God. I'd love
she
to
said
have
that like her, and I don't think she'd mind me sharing this here because she shared it in public spaces too. Like she was like, she had really bad like mom guilt, which like I think a lot of us like in working in industries like here where you're like you can be on at any second of any moment. I have the same with my partner. You know what I mean? Yes, exactly. Like that was something like she said it really helped her process years of,
watch out for the hair.
No thanks. Years of like working through like what in therapy, in all fairness, and like I talked to someone, but like therapy sometimes can really keep you in that discussion. Like you kind of keep going back to it. Sometimes you feel like, well, I'm going to therapy, so I better have a problem.
Right. Like you feel like, I know before mine, sometimes I'm like trying to dig up one real quick.
100%. It's like, okay, well, let's create some conflict so we can go in here and get our $190 worth. Like, I know it sounds dumb, but like it can make you feel that way. And so some of these other like, processes where you don't have to stay in the trauma, you kind of strip it. And so she talked about like her mom guilt of like working really hard when Michael was younger and all the things. Like it was really good for her to release, because Michael didn't feel that way. She felt that way. It was 100% like I wasn't present enough. I wasn't around enough. He didn't have those feelings. She did.
Yep.
And she was able to process them a lot faster when she could separate out that awareness and just kind of let the subconscious brain like work through its shit.
Wow, it sounds like basically you and I are gonna be signing up sometime soon.
Well, no, seriously, she's like, you have to come. It's just so funny for me to be talking about this because like it's just so like when I say it's so out of my realm, it's so out of my realm. Yeah. But the physical pain will make you start to figure things out.
And tell me if I'm going too deep on this, but I know like you're a religious person and stuff, and you know, obviously you can lean on things like that, but sometimes like, I mean, it takes other things to, you know what I mean?
I do like at my core, like believe all things work together for good, that like my path is not a random one, that I was designed with a purpose and a plan in mind. But I do think that like there are lots of things that impact, you know, how we move through life. And we were designed by God, but that was not like it's not like okay, well, you're good, so just go flit around and hope things work out. I mean, we know that we were designed to work. Like we were designed as beings that got fulfillment from work, which is why I don't love the work-life balance, because what I think people are seeking is they think that work is what is hurting them. But I actually know that work is by God's design what we were put on earth to do, because it creates purpose. And without purpose, this thing can do whatever it wants to. It's like an organization with no vision. If you have no vision or plan of where you want to go or purpose of what you're trying to achieve, how on earth, even as a solopreneur, do you navigate? Because every little awareness moment that hits you, you're going to go this way, and that was not God. I don't believe that was God's plan. But I do think you have to tap into understanding some of these things, the psychological side of like what's going on, and how do you get control over what runs wild back here that most of us don't even know is happening, and it is driving your whole life, which is really sad.
Right. Because I think it's so easy, and so many people do this, and I'm guilty of it, to your point. Like, you know, something's there, and like you just maybe don't want to tap into it at all. You know?
It's honestly a little scary. Like,
but then to your point, you start to carry it longer and longer. And I'll say 37 now. In my early 20s, like I started developing TMJ, and I've still had it 15 years later. The only thing that's helped is Invisalign, crazy enough. But I'm trying to figure out what that root cause is, and I've spent thousands of dollars.
Well, and doctors will say this, like, and we all know good doctors. Like, if I go in and I say, you know, this is wrong, I would hope that they're not just going to treat what's wrong. They want to understand, because no part of the body works without something else. That's one of the, I mean, if we want to go into the wellness space, it's one of the things that I feel like I lost my mom to lung cancer. When I put all of the symptoms together, it was very easy to see how they were all connected. But what she would do is go in, and the doctors would treat her for a pain. They would treat her for a cough. They would treat her for an infected lymph node. Like, literally surface level treat all the things. And the reality is it's all happening as a system. And so I think, to your point, like, not one thing is isolated. Everything is interconnected. And so like, that's why, like, you got to sometimes go in and you have to say, okay, but what's actually going on here? We're so quick to be like, well, let me just treat not even medically, like just like mentally, like in our lives, like, let me just, and it goes back to work-life balance. Like, it's like, well, let me just take a vacation. Right. Because I feel burnt out. Okay. Well, the vacation is symptom treating. It's not systematic, like, overhaul. And you have to do that. You have to go in and say, what's wrong with the system? Yeah. So what's some, honestly, I think ChatGPT maybe is a little bit of the answer. Like, you know, if you don't, like, where do you start to maybe try to figure out that? Whether, I mean, I guess in my mind, it's like journaling, just communicating, talking about it. Like, in my mind, if you don't feel comfortable out loud, like ChatGPT, just like, I'm feeling this way. And just, a lot of people don't have people in their circles that will have conversations like this. Yeah. That's number one. So I think number one is a lot of people aren't having this conversation because they don't have people in their circles that will stimulate meaningful conversations like this. So number one, I guess, call us. Actually, just call us too. Just call us. I can solve it. But I really do mean that. Like, you have to start like finding some circles that will like have conversations like this. And then I think it is like, just start with ChatGPT, just some basic research to be like, hey, I want to understand a little bit more about like how the subconscious brain works. If this woo-woo thing isn't for you, but I can tell you this is very, very powerful when it comes to like sales skills or entrepreneurship, then go start with like a Renee Rodriguez, Amplify Your Influence, or go read even like a Phil Jones, exactly what to say. Like start looking at, from an entrepreneurial standpoint, how much the subconscious brain is impacted in sales, because that's where it started for me too. I had my little taste years ago with like Phil Jones, when he would talk about how this, like, we have to talk to the subconscious brains of those that we're working with in sales. So that's where my awareness of like, oh my gosh, all these things are happening in the back end of people's brains and we don't understand it. So, I mean, there's like baby steps in. You don't have to go full ayahuasca tomorrow. Like I'm not even saying that maybe you should.
Well, to fully bring it back full circle, I think it's what the beginning you were talking about, like expanders. You know what I mean? And just like, where can you kind of tap back into the kind of expand your brain, your capacity, and trying to understand this a little bit more.
And I think it's one of those that, like, yes, be open-minded to that expansion coming. It may initially sound like it contradicts something else you believe, or it may sound like it contradicts something that you hold to be a strong principle. Like, I believe in hard work. What I realized is like that principle doesn't change with this in mind. I just have to be more cognizant of when I'm bogging down things, that I give my inner being the understanding of like, I'm bogging you down a little bit. I've had to do it the last 2 weeks. I've been CRM changing. I've had a ton of heavy stuff personally, a lot of balancing things. And like, I've had to have those moments where I'm just like, I have to be aware and I have to say what I need to say.
Right. Awesome. Well, I think this is a good wrap-up point.
Thank you.
I appreciate you sharing. No tears, no emotion.
No.
Not too emotional, thankfully.
No, I'll just go down regulate.
I was about to say, now we'll show off the camera and be like,
all the O's.
Well, I appreciate you.
Thanks, Eli.
Cheers.
Cheers. Hold on, mine's kind of full because I talked more than you did.
Success.